What is up, W Sports Podcast? We are live as we are going to go ahead and sneak in a quick championship football game. Tomorrow's championship football game, national championship, in our first ever 12-team college football playoff. We got to sneak it in between an incredible AFC divisional round game this evening and the one that we just wrapped up. Great time to be talking about football, Tubby. Welcome back to the show, man.
Yeah, I'm excited for the game tomorrow, but I'm also pretty sad because that means college football is over until the end of August.
Yeah, I will say, when college football season ends, what does that mean that's just around the corner, Tubby?
Baseball season.
Baseball season, and there's one other thing that I think you get so excited about, and
What was that?
and the fans gotta love.
NFL draft.
That's true. And so again, if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed, especially if you're excited about the draft, because I don't know anybody else who has just so locked into when it comes to just the draft prep knowledge. You know what? We don't work for NFL franchises, and that's okay. But I'm telling you, Tubby could. Tubby could, as a talent acquisition, a developer. He gets it, and he has those rankings, and you don't want to miss any of those as we head into the draft season.
Oh yeah, cause I'm ready. I probably have a hot take at quarterback right now that a lot of people aren't watching, and I think the guy's going to fly off the board when it comes draft process.
Well, more we get to combine, pro days, all that stuff, it's going to probably maybe push that guy up the board like you're talking about. So I did hear one. I don't think this is him, but Jalen Milroe was one of these guys. These guys I listened to quite a bit, and I was like, "Come on, man!
No, definitely not Milroe."
No. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into it. We got a national championship, and the biggest question I have for you right now, before we break down this game, is, Tubby, is there a little less anticipation for this game compared to previous years, where maybe you had almost a month or two, full weeks of we know who it is, we know the teams? Do you feel like it's lost a little bit of that I don't know, that spark, if you will, because we've had these games, we've seen these teams an extra, through three times.
Yeah, I think that definitely is. I don't think that you're hearing about the hype about it a whole lot. I mean, like we even say, college football's happy. You get Notre Dame, Ohio State, and a national championship game. But yeah, I don't think that there's as much anticipation as there's been in the past.
Yeah. So, well, we're anticipating a good game tomorrow. It is in Atlanta. It's in a dome, so no snow game like we just saw, and no cold weather game like we've seen 3 out of the 4 games this weekend. But let's go ahead and let's break it down, Tubby. We're not going to make us pick anything just yet, but we got maybe 10 minutes in this episode. I wanted you to maybe break down the key player. When you look at this one for each team, who do you got?
So I'm going to go with Jack Sawyer for the defense for Ohio State. He has been the tone setter throughout the whole playoffs. Him and Simons have been the guys that have gotten that defense the big plays that they need. But I think it's going to be Sawyer getting pressure on Riley Leonard and bottling him up, not letting him get out of the pocket, keeping him more of a pocket passer than the runner. We know that they're going to design runs, but when it comes to these passing downs and he drops back and maybe someone's not open, not allowing him to get out of the pocket. And I think Sawyer has done a great job of that with the guys that they've played so far in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm going to go the other side of the ball to start with Notre Dame, and I'm actually going to say it has to be Riley Leonard, as much as I don't want it to be. If you look at Jeremiah Love, their leading running back, he averaged 7.1 yards per carry this season, but outside of that 98-yard run to kick off the playoffs, he's really been held in check. Defenses have really locked him down, and I think as you go from their defenses, I feel like have gotten progressively better as they go in the playoffs. Indiana, Georgia, Penn State, the run defense has gotten a little more tight, and now you're going to go against Ohio State, who does have the ability to shut down a run if Sawyer, you're key to the game, if he can really help that team be locked in. And I just look at this, I'm like, they need him to break off a couple big runs, and his longest run in Georgia, 5 yards. His longest run against Penn State, 9 yards. So to me, Riley Leonard has to develop be able to run around like crazy. He has at least 11 carries in each of the games, and each one he gets more, 11, 14, 18 in the playoffs. So he's got to rely a lot on his legs and not make mistakes. He had 2 picks against Penn State. Can't do that.
Yeah, I think the big thing for Jeremiah Love is he has been hurt these last 5 or 6 weeks, dealing with the knee injury. So that's definitely hurt his production. But yeah, I think Riley Leonard is the smart, the one guy that you look at, he has to. But I'm gonna go with the wide receiver. I'm gonna go with great house. He has been a really big target for him this last couple of games. He is a young, big time, big receiver. There's a lot of teams that were recruiting him to play tight end, and Notre Dame was like, "Not come here. You're a wide receiver." And he had a really big game for them against Texas. Came up with some big plays, and like we said, they do need to get the run game going because that's what makes Notre Dame's team, go. But if they are able to slow it down, he's going to have someone to throw the football to. And I think it's going to be Great House, the wide receiver. I think that he's going to have to come up big because of his size. He's going to give those, they're not the biggest corners for Ohio State. And I don't know if Denzel Burke's playing. So, you take out maybe potentially one of their, best coverage guys. I think it may be a little bit more difficult to go up against his size.
Yeah. And I don't know if this is a cop-out answer. For me on the other side of the ball, I'm actually going to go the entire secondary when it comes to Notre Dame. I think you look at this team, and I think you have to look at what happened really well for Texas to limit Smith to one
Mm-hmm.
catch on 3 yards
Yeah.
after the explosiveness that he's shown so far recently. Look at what Michigan did to get him. I'm part of that. I think was on Ryan Day in the strategy
Mm-hmm.
that they went with in that game. But there's some really key things. Emeka Egbuka, the last game in the college football, most likely. And so whenever I think he has to be. I know
Yeah.
he's a senior. I can't
Mm-hmm.
remember if he's redshirt or not, but can he have one of those typical games like he's not been explosive, but he's been reliable? I think you just have to shut down this team. You
Yeah.
the running backs out of the backfield, you got to be able to shut them down. I know some of the times that's going to line up with linebackers, but the
Mm-hmm.
secondary has to make tackles. They have to keep these guys in check because I think if you put it all on Will Howard's shoulders, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know that I trust it. I mean, that's the guy I'd want to win this game more than anybody else if I'm Notre
Yeah.
Dame.
Yeah. And I think for Ohio State's offense, they have to go through Travion Henderson.
Hmm.
He's been their spark plug throughout the playoffs and over the last month or so. For them, I think he has to be the guy that they get the ball to. I know what Jeremiah Smith can do, but is Notre Dame going to do it? Texas and what Texas was able to do and just kind of bracket him and prevent them from being able to get the big plays down the field with him. I would imagine that's so, but I think that for Ohio State, they're going to have to give the football to Travion Henderson a lot to make sure the game is not on Will Howard's shoulders.
Yeah. If you had to look at this game and say the biggest advantage for Ohio State is blank and the biggest advantage for Notre Dame is blank, what would you say those are?
So I think the biggest advantage for Ohio State is their position players. They've got so many weapons on that team that it doesn't have to be just one guy. It doesn't have to be Jeremiah Smith because if you shut down Jeremiah Smith, you still have to cover Emeka Egbuka. You still have to cover Carnell Tate. You still have to cover the
Hmm.
tight end who has come on lately. You still have to, respect Travion Henderson in the passing game. We saw the 75-yard touchdown. And then for Notre Dame, I'm just going to go with the grit. I think their grit is what has gotten them there this year. The injuries that they've had in the secondary, no one expected them to be able to slow down any pass games the way they have been able to. Both of their best defensive, secondary players are out. They've been out for most of the season, and Al Golden has done an incredible job of getting these guys ready to play and being super productive. So I think it's going to be the grit of that defense for Notre Dame.
Yeah, I like both of those facts. Is there any area of weakness that you see the other team has really got to exploit? We've seen a lot of games, 15 from both of these teams, which is a
Mm-hmm.
historic number when it comes to college football. 15 is just wild. We're about to get a
Yeah.
16th game. What's the biggest area of weakness?
I think for both teams, it's going to be the offensive line because these defensive lines have been so dominant for both sides. Ohio State's missing two or three starters. At least I know the starting left tackle and the backup left tackle. And I want to say the starting right tackle is out too. And one of their other offensive linemen got hurt in the Texas game. Whether or not he's healthy, I want to say it was the center. And then it's the same thing with Notre Dame. They have a younger offensive line than they've had in the past, and you have a true freshman starting at left tackle, and now you have a true freshman left tackle having to go up against JT Tuimoloau or Jack Sawyer.
Oh man, yeah, I like both of those. I mean, the game in the trenches, which team is going to be able to overcome it?
Mhm.
Tubby, we're running out of a little bit of time here, only
Yep.
because we probably don't want to miss this incredible
Yeah.
AFC divisional round game, which I'm expecting most of us to be watching. So, I mean, who's going to be watching this live YouTube at that point anyway? So, I want you to make a pick, but before we make a pick, Tubby, I heard that for our giveaway for the month of January, we might have had a correct guess,
We did.
dude. Come on.
Right as we got off the live, we had a correct guess, and the correct guess was Matt Grace, who was our first giveaway winner, and he guessed it correctly, and it was Derek Brooks, Hall of
Yeah,
Fame linebacker Derek
dude,
Brooks.
what a jersey right there. So that's right. So just because Matt got the answer right doesn't mean that
Mm-hmm.
he's got the signed jersey.
Nah.
It actually just means he has 3 extra entries for this month's
Mm-hmm.
giveaway. So maybe you're like, you know what? Now that I know it's Derek Brooks, sign me up for that chance. All you got to do
Right.
is hit subscribe on YouTube. That is the easiest thing, and then you're automatically entered into the drawing. Make sure that you can let us know that you are subscribed. If you have those on private, which I totally understand, you
Mm-hmm.
can just message us on one of our platforms and say, "Hey, here's the proof. I got a screenshot," because we want to make sure that we give you the opportunity to get this incredible signed jersey courtesy of Tubby and just the skills that he has at collecting this kind of stuff.
Hey. Yeah, I mean that's one key part that you know. When I go do these giveaways, I notice there's quite a few of you guys that are private and you haven't messaged us yet, so you aren't technically entered because I cannot see that you are subscribed. So make sure either you turn it on where I can see it, or you message us on Instagram and let me know and show me proof.
Yeah, yeah, because we want you to get the shot. So,
Yeah,
Tubby, we beat around the bush enough right now.
yeah,
So, hey, we got to make a pick. We've waited long enough for this college football season, and I don't remember who we picked at the beginning of the year. Do you?
yeah. I picked Oregon.
Oregon. I'm pretty sure I probably would have done the same. I don't know if it was Georgia. I don't remember what we did at this point, but
Yeah,
I can't remember. Yeah, it didn't work out. But Oregon had a good
yeah,
year, defeated until the playoffs.
yeah.
So who you got, Tubby?
I've been saying it for the last 2 months. This is the team you do not want to play in the playoffs. They've been one of the hottest teams. I'm sticking with it. Give me Notre Dame.
Oh, I thought you were really gonna do the stingy defense. What they've been able to do, I like the pick. I'm going Ohio State just because they got all the talent. I think they do have the better quarterback. I think.
Yeah,
And
probably.
I think the fact that Ohio State's almost a 10-point favorite is wild to me.
Yeah.
And the over under being at 45, I do feel like is about appropriate. I think it's going to be, I don't know, a game 27-24, something around there. So it's a little bit more
Mhm.
than the mid 40s, but
Yeah.
it's going to be a good game. So.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. So there you have it, everybody. That's the W Sports Podcast picks. Make sure that if you see this before the game goes, put your pick in there. Put your prediction of the score too. We want to see how close you get it, and make sure that you're subscribed because we're on the journey to 300 subscribers, and maybe you, as a subscriber, can get a free Derek Brooks jersey this month.
Yep.
That's all we got for this episode. Hope you enjoy the rest of the NFL playoffs divisional rounds. We will see y'all next week.
See ya.
See you.